And a couple more people come. Oh, John Prusik is here tonight. He's going to talk to us about Coach Curtin.
Excellent.
Regis, you had mentioned the Cuban Missile Crisis, and I think I read something about and I don't know if this is going to happen with Russia and Ukraine, but when Khrushchev and I think it was Khrushchev and Kennedy were arguing back and forth, Russia decided to give up and pull back their missiles. And I think I read years later, I don't know if it's substantiated, but Kennedy agreed that years later they will pull out the missiles out of Turkey. And when they pulled out the missiles out of Turkey as a result, that destabilized the Middle East and created a lot more problems. So that was what I read. If anyone could substantiate that, to be an interesting. So I don't know what's going to happen with, the dialogue with Russia and Ukraine and the United States.
Well, it'll give us something to talk about if we're all around in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, right. I was going to say Pennsylvania is going to take over New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
John
Good luck for that.
John Prusik is with us. John, welcome to the group. It's so good to see you.
Hey, John.
Hello, Reggie. Hello, everybody.
Hello, John.
Roberto.
Yeah, I see Dale is with us. And somebody, Michael's iPad, I don't know who that is. It says connecting to audio.
Oh, can you hear me, you guys, or not?
Yeah, Mike Beener. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I was on the iPad briefly, and then my wife thought it would work better on the computer, and we got that to work. So I'm a guy that still has a flip phone. I don't even have I told a group of physicians I was with, I said, my goal is to be the last person in the world with a flip phone. And he says, Mike, I think you already are.
I'm real close to being there with you. I'm going to throw the doggone thing in the Black Sea.
Mike, is that the BlackBerry that you have?
No, I'm not that behind the times. I think that company is.
Bob Donnelly's with us.
Hey, Bob Donnelly.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Bob.
I see Kevin is checking in. We're going to let him in. Oh, we got a good group tonight.
Kevin's coming to visit me on Tuesday, so.
Oh, so we don't have to ask him what state he's in then.
Yeah, he's in Phoenix. He's in the state of Phoenix.
Yeah, we're talking about you, Kevin.
Yeah, I just got here.
Yeah, I know. We're talking about you already.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, everybody's surprised you're still in Arizona.
I just got here about a week ago.
Oh, you're too much. Well, I'm looking
Got to 115 degrees.
It's about 3 minutes after. And I think everybody, yeah, I've let everybody in that has checked in so far. Well, this is great. And, John Prusik, you guys know that he's with us tonight. This is really great. What I'd like to do is pass the baton to John. And John, I guess you've been in touch with a number of guys, at least at the reunion, but, oh, here's Larry Tice. We got to let Larry in. Give us a little bit of an update before you talk about Coach Curtin. How's life been for you in the last few years? In terms of health, in terms of family, in terms of, I know you're still working. So John, take it away. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to speaker view now so that whoever's speaking will be full screen. Is that okay with everybody?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So John Prusik, everybody else mute your mic, and John, welcome to the group. Take it away.
Oh, okay, I have the mic, huh?
You have the mic.
You got the mic.
And how long do I have before the hook comes out and pulls me off?
There's not going to be any hook. You're a big star. We can't wait to hear from you. We can't wait to hear from you.
All right. It's kind of on a sad note we're here, but a very sad note. But I always remember Malachi Smith. Remember you guys when we were mumbling the prayers in the morning? And he had that high pitched voice and he would say, raise the tone.
Raise the tone,
And we would try to raise the tone. That's what I remember. But so let's see, where do I begin? Try to get to the point. Well, to start with, I am married. I can't deny that I am married because a whole bunch of you guys attended our wedding down in New Orleans 43 years ago. So you saw us get married. The amazing thing about that weekend, other than the fact that my bride married me, which was amazing, but the most amazing thing about that weekend was that none of us ended up spending a night in the New Orleans City Jail. But rumor, innuendo, and hearsay have it that Wechter ran close to the sidelines. But so I'm married. My wife, Lee, is a living saint. She hasn't thrown my sorry ass out yet, but she's got time and the jury's still out on that. We're blessed with 3 terrific kids. One lives in Philadelphia, one lives in Boston, and one lives here in Chicago. And at the wedding, I forgot to mention that Larry stood up for me and Seamus, and Quinn married us down in New Orleans. And by the way, I saw Quinn over Christmas. He came over for dinner and he's doing well. But anyhow, so we have our 3 kids. Quinn baptized all of them. And more recently, he married one of them. So it's been quite something to have that continuity. I've been a Illinois lawyer forever and a day. I've helped all kinds of folks out of all kinds of trouble. I still love the law. I'm still practicing. And maybe one of these days I'll stop practicing and play for real. I'm very proud to report that I have no felony convictions. I have no DUIs. And as far as I know, the federal government is not chasing me, and the mob is not chasing me. And these are all good things. But I want to digress for a second, because when we talk about the mob, we have an expert in the mob in our midst. You guys don't know it, but we do. So I got to tell you a little story. For many years, Seamus O'Halloran and I would descend on Philadelphia and catch up with Bob Clark, who lived there at the time. And it was generally football season, we would have a football boys weekend. So this one year, O'Halloran and I are seated at a pub, our favorite pub in Philadelphia, which was called Rotten Ralph's. And we were seated at Rotten Ralph's. It was just down the street from Constitution Hall and the Liberty Bell and all that. We're seated at Rotten Ralph's waiting for Clark. The first hour goes by. Where's Bob? Second hour goes by. Where's Bob? The third hour goes by. Where in the hell is Bob? Well, he never shows. And we come to find out that sometime before then, he had fled the New Jersey mob. He packed up his family. He packed up everything that couldn't be nailed down in his U-Haul truck. And in the dead of night, he drove across country and he landed in the desert, where he has been hiding ever since. So, so if you guys, please don't get sucked in by his choir boy face and his bright smile and his look of innocence, because evil lurks in that man.
Omerta. Oh, omerta, John, omerta.
So anyhow, yeah, so I digress. But yeah, he never showed up. I think that's pretty much what I told you. The only other thing I want to add, since I have the mic, is since the reunion, the 50th reunion, Doc has been coming to Chicago every February for a boys' weekend. And I got to tell you, Chicago in February is a delight. And I think you guys would just enjoy it so much. We have a lot of good things going on. We have the Bulls, we have the Blackhawks. Last time we went and saw a Blue Demons game, the DePaul Blue Demons against Georgetown. So you're all cordially invited to join Doc and me any February in Chicago. But I think I've rambled on enough. So as we say in the law trade, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
John, you still have the mic. Tell us what you know about Ed Curtin, Coach Curtin, and that he passed away recently. Tell us whatever you know about his recent life, how he's been, what he's been doing. Take it away. You've got it.
Okay. Well, there's so much to be said. We could spend the next 3 hours talking about the coach.
Well, we might.
It's a terrible loss. It's a terrible loss. But I'll update you for some of you that maybe don't know his life after Hamilton. But he went on to Salem High School. He coached and taught there, became the principal, I believe, of Salem High School. And then he became the superintendent of schools for all the public schools in Salem. He was a very, very accomplished educator. And he continued to coach. He has 2 boys and 2 girls and a flock of grandchildren. He's just a wonderful man. After education, this is kind of cool, Reggie. You guys will like this. He was one of about a couple of thousand applicants for a job at Fenway Park with the Boston Red Sox to be one of what they call ambassadors, who were basically the folks who gave tours of Fenway Park. And they were only hiring a handful of them. And they hired Ed. Ed was one they hired out of a couple of thousand applicants. And so he spent years giving tours in his retirement. He was retired, but giving tours of Fenway. And one weekend, Al and me went out there, and he, with Mr. Machichi and the 4 of us, he gave us a special tour of Fenway. But he was all into the Red Sox and Fenway, and he knew the players. And this is the honest to God's truth. He not once, but twice sang the national anthem at the beginning of a Red Sox game at Fenway, because he was an Irish tenor as well. So, I mean, he was just an amazing man. I'm sure everybody here feels a big loss, and he loved us. God, did he love us. One other aside, and then I'll shut up. I hadn't seen him for quite a while. This was maybe 15, 20 years ago. And he, out of the blue, called me and he said he was in Chicago. And so I caught up with him and we went to Harry Carey's restaurant, which is a famous restaurant in town. And we had a 6-hour lunch there where we caught up. And you could just go on and on and on with the stories he had and how much he loved us. And those years at Hamilton, he was truly amazing. So God, I'll pray for him. Great man. All right, I'll shut up.
Thanks, John, and it's great to have you. I hope you can join us in the future. We're going to rely on everybody, but we'll rely on you for some memories from the past. You shared a few tonight about Bob Clark out there hiding in the desert. There's been a collective memory that we've had over the last few months that we've been meeting where it's filled in a lot of holes and a lot of gaps in a lot of people's memories. So I hope you'll be able to join us in the future. We're going to depart from the way we've typically gone. I've gone in alphabetical order, but tonight I want to let whoever wants to jump in and to talk about their memories of Coach Curtin, who was not only a coach, but he was a great teacher at Hamilton. So who'd like to jump in next? Well, don't jump at once, it'll be chaos.
I want to ask a question. Does anybody know, I'm scratching my memory here, trying to recall, and I don't have a lot of memories of the old days. I'm trying to actually some of the our basketball, which I played on the team, and some of our upperclassmen, like who we had played with at Niagara and then went to Hamilton, and like Tony Cap, Nick Olsant, long, tall Texan John, somebody, I can't remember him, he played. And I didn't, when did Ed Curtin start at Hamilton? What was he our coach as a junior? We were there 2 years, of course. I was there 2 years, junior and senior. Did he start as a junior? Was he our coach as a juniors? I don't remember how. I'm foggy on that. John,
Bob, he was our coach for both years. He took us to the Boston Gardens, the parquet floor,
right.
which is still there, by the way. And
does anybody remember if he joined when we were sophomores?
Yeah. He started teaching civics to us when we were sophomores. We took civics from him, so he came the year before the Niagara people came.
Yeah, and I think the two of them came together. He and Michichi, right?
Yep. They hired both late teachers together.
Yeah, terrific. Okay, Bob.
We had a Mr. Leary. We had a late teacher. Oh, he was a brother in freshman year. And then after that, they hired the two late teachers.
Yeah, I think they retired Mr. Leary.
Yeah, he was a disaster.
All right, Bob Wechter, back to you. Continue with your thoughts.
Well, I was trying to remember actually who was the starting five for our junior year. I remember Tony Cap and Nick Olsant and a couple other people. I don't remember the starting five though. Then I remember Paul O'Brien and Sean Joyce were on the team. Lou, did you start as a junior? You started as a junior, didn't you? And Al, I'm sure.
Al was there too.
How old was Ed Curtin when he like 21 or 22 or something like that? I mean, he wasn't that much older than us, really.
I thought he was 50 years old with his wisdom. That's what.
But yeah, and then, I remember we had clippings I remember receiving and reviewing. I remember Seamus was a local reporter, maybe was that at Hamilton, and would write stuff up and various newspapers. I remember, I don't know how I got clippings, but I have some clippings of our games, and my mom's got them somehow. I don't remember how actually, but I do have, there's a file of some, that I have somewhere in the old days. And I think I have a picture of a basketball team somewhere in my drawers of at some point. And of course, I think didn't CJS have some good results after we left? Even wasn't there a kid named Gilday that played really well, and they were on the state tournament even after we graduated. I believe I heard that, if anybody remembers. But I don't have that strong a memory of all that stuff, other than playing on the parquet floor, and we came close, you know. I remember John's shot layup rolled off the rim. I still remember, you know, that's one of those odd things you just have. I still have it in my mind. I see the ball rolling off the rim at the you know, won the game for us or something like that. Oh gosh.
All right. Thank you for that, Bob. Who'd like to come in next? Louis, you got it.
Okay, thank you. I remember when we went from Niagara to Hamilton, Mike Beener and Mike, we would go out to the ball field and play baseball. Mike liked to catch, I liked to hit, which is great. And I was hitting the ball. And then I remember the next day, they announced that they're having basketball tryouts. And I think they also announced that they're going to do not intramural, but competitive basketball. And I remember I hadn't touched a basketball for 6 months. So I went to the tryout the next day, and coach was saying, okay, I'm going to select 12 people. And he wrote off named off the list, and he went down to 11, and my name was not there. So I was getting a little nervous, but I was also getting a little angry. And then he came up to me and he looked up to me because, you know, he's short. And he said, Horvath, you're number 12 only because you're 6'5". So I want to thank the coach for his trust in me and my skills. And it was a really good thing. And John mentioned he sang the Star Spangled Banner. I think at our reunion, he also sang that. And we have a copy of that somewhere in our archives. And if maybe someone can find it and share it, we could send it around to everybody.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. The other thing is, I remember a number of years ago, John also mentioned the parquet floor at Boston Gardens. So I was up visiting and I heard that they were going to tear down the garden, but they were going to keep the parquet floor, which was good. So I said, I gotta go visit the garden. So I stopped. I couldn't find it. So I stopped about 2 to 3 places and I said, I'm looking for the Boston Gardens. And the guy said, I don't know. And about the 4th one, I said, listen, I want to see where's you know, where they play basketball. He said, oh, you mean the garden? I said, yeah, no, yeah, it's not the gardens, it's the garden. So I love that story with the Boston Garden. And that was what coach was about. He also taught us typing. You remember that?
Oh, I do. I have a story to tell about that, but who'd like to jump in next? Thanks, Louis.
Reg, I had a couple things.
All right,
I
Mike.
recall that somebody said the Boston newspapers had an article, and it accused our Carmel of recruiting basketball players from around the country.
Exactly.
As if that was the main reason we existed. And the only other thing is I was just tickled pink to get picked. I was lucky, I guess. My senior year, I got to be on the team. It was fun. It was so much fun rooting for him when I was a junior, and I didn't even dream of being on the team. And I was certainly a lesser cog in the machine, but it was really a thrill.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Anybody else?
Well, I recall that. You're right, Mike. I don't think we had a Massachusetts native on our team, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the source of that. And I remember, yeah, and we had our school population was probably the smallest in the state, and we didn't have any practice time. And we went as far as we did with, you know, scratching and clawing all the way, I guess, with just got lucky with the group of players that we had.
My brother, Mark, who's about 5 years younger than me, he went through Carmel 4 years, and he played, and they went as a C level. We were B level because of whatever, but he was at C level, and they did play at the Boston Gardens. And my brother was the MVP of the tech tournament for that class. So,
Wow.
ooh, proud of him.
All right, come on, guys. I don't know.
I'll jump in, Reg. The first thing I want to do is give a shout out to John Prusik, because I think without John, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about Ed, because he probably would have faded from our lives. But he, not just in connection with the reunion, but definitely in connection with the reunion, contacted Ed, made sure he was there. He played a very significant role there. And and then John, after the reunion, stayed in touch with him, went back for the next reunion and so on. And I think we all owe John a debt of gratitude for having kept Ed, close to all of us. I said something to John the other day that was one of my favorite recollections of Ed, and that is, in addition to being a terrific coach and a role model and an inspiration and just a hugely decent, kind person, he one day, it was like a Saturday afternoon, went the whole afternoon till study hall was open and free, and I was leaving the study hall right around 1 o'clock. And for some reason, he was out looking at the bulletin board. You remember that little anteroom to the study hall. And he struck up a conversation with me. And 3 hours later, we were still talking in that anteroom. And it wasn't about basketball. Might have been a little bit, but he would talk about family and about commitment and about, the future and life in general. It was wonderful. No other teacher or priest, in the seminary ever did that. And I've always remembered that moment. And I reminded him of it when I saw him in 2013. I didn't stay in touch with him as much as John did, but periodically, he was on Facebook, and I would always, celebrate his birthdays with a comment and stuff. And he was very excited about the fact that a few years ago when the Boston Celtics signed a guy by the name of Tice, T-H-E-I-S, pronounced Tice. And he would send me clippings of this guy. And at one point he said, Larry, he's not the first Tice to play in the Boston Gardens. And he thought that was pretty cool that, I had played there. Of course, I used to always call myself for years, I've called myself the sixth man on a 5-man basketball team, because we had such a terrific starting five. And the only time I would really ever get in the game was if Al got in foul trouble. And then Ed would send me in to play center as his hatchet man, whoever it was that was clobbering Ed. Clobbering Al. I was supposed to go in and, give him a few elbows in the throat or whatever. And I do remember another thing that touches me to this day, and I still have the clipping, is that was Lynn Trey we played. And again, I was the sixth man, but somebody must have either been sick or got in foul trouble, because I came into the game late in the game and I scored 9 points in like 5 or 6 minutes. And afterwards, when he was interviewed, when Ed was interviewed about the game, he said that, we're really going to be depending upon Larry, to come into games and help out. It was the only time I ever scored that many points in a game in my entire career. I think I might have scored 3 or 4 in another game. But he was truly an inspiration. And I, that's my daughter's Wheaton Terrier, excuse me. I'll get her to be quiet here in a second. But anyway, those are my memories of that.
Thanks, Larry. Who else would like to jump in? Don't be bashful.
Let me also thank John. I remember at the reunion how glad I was and surprised to see Ed and his, I believe both of his sons came, correct?
Yep.
at the time. Yeah, they were all there. I was, very surprised and very glad to see them. Thanks, John.
I have a question for John. And when we were in Chicago in 2013 for our reunion, Coach took us aside. And I think he said to us, he wanted to tell us who played on the team for a long time. And what he said, we need you to kind of verify that. He said that many of us got letters from major universities, but the priests at Hamilton censored them and did not allow the letters to get through to us. Is that true?
I think it's fairly accurate, but I would delete the word many. I don't think
there was like many.
Yeah.
I think you and Al and perhaps Bob may have gotten.
I don't think that. I don't remember that.
Sure. I'm not sure.
Al verified that to me.
Al confirmed years later that he had learned that he had gotten them. He's the only one I ever heard. I never heard from either of you guys.
Didn't you get one, Larry?
Yeah.
Larry got one. Bob Clark got one in Arizona.
I think to be the ball boy for Bodunk Tech or something. Yeah.
All right, come on. Bob Zahn just joined the group. And Bob, just for your information, we're sharing our memories of Coach Curtin, Ed Curtin, who passed away recently. So it's just kind of wide open tonight. I'm not going by alpha. All of us have had memories of him, or most of us, I think, have had memories of him. Those of us that started at Hamilton, we had him in sophomore year. So I don't know, Tom Vaughn or Kevin Leafy, Brian came from Niagara. Who else would you, guys, come on.
I'm babysitting today. That's why I've been running in and out. So I thought I'd bring her in here for a second. But I remember Ed Curtin. I went to the Boston Gardens. I was an athlete, but not gifted. So I wasn't on the team, but I was a statistician. So I remember the parquet floors and the vastness, because we used to play in our gym and even in other gyms were small compared to the gardens. But I remember Ed because he was an inspiration to me. I remember him when he used to sometimes play in the gym, in our gym in Hamilton, and he wasn't a very tall guy, but he was a great athlete. And that inspired me because I'm not a very tall guy. And I just loved the way he could play basketball and in the classrooms as well. I mean, I particularly enjoyed that Boston accent that he had when he talked about the garden and the things he taught me about being a good person and a good man and being a good father figure as well and a good citizen. So he inspired me greatly. Even though I wasn't on the team, I was always there with the team, taking down the stats. And I tried to change those stats in that game that we lost, but I couldn't get away with it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, my memory of you, Bob Clark, is you tore it up in league games in basketball.
Well, I could play a decent game. I mean, I was a little handicapped, as I probably told last time, because of my right leg and the auto accident I had. So I was always a little off balance. And John would probably tell you I still am a little off balance. And by the way, John, I wanted to say I missed you guys that weekend because I was up in the Pocono Mountains up at Mach Chunk. John used to fly in from Chicago to Philadelphia, and Seamus would come up from the Baltimore, Washington area, and the three of us would go up to the Poconos, not to ski. I had a ski lodge up there. We spent 3 days at the bars at Mach Chunk and had a great time.
Boy, a lot of stuff is coming out here tonight. I'll tell you what, stuff that's been buried away for a while. So, John Prusik, thanks for opening a can of worms. All right.
Oh, there's plenty more where that's come from.
Well, we'll welcome those in future meetings, John. Tom Vaughn, did you want to jump in? No, Tom?
Yeah. I'm not from sports. I have no athletic prowess whatsoever. And when I came to Hamilton, I had bad knees. I think Larry Tice said he remembers that I was the one who had like a pad to kneel on in chapel. I think it was the only. Do you remember saying that, Larry?
Okay.
I had. Well, they said it was Osgood-Schlatter disease. What happened was when I went to St. Mary's Elementary School in Lawrence, my mother got me involved with being an altar boy, and we had this Father Casey. He was an Augustinian. As a matter of fact, I was going to go to Staten Island. That's where the high school for the Augustinians were. But then later on, we went to Hamilton for a family week, and I met Father Lambert. And I said, wow, I told my mother, I don't want to go to Staten Island. I want to go to Hamilton. But anyway, this Father Casey was very strict about the altar boys, and he made us keep our backs straight. So when we genuflected, we had to come straight down and bang our knees on the marble floor. And I did that for about 3 or 4 years. And then my knee swelled up. And the doctor had to like put a needle in it and then drain some of the fluid off. But ever since then, I've always had a bad right knee. So I didn't do anything in sports. Matter of fact, I don't remember, if you remember, I could only like be a referee, or I could be a statistician. I couldn't play basketball, couldn't play baseball, couldn't play football. But my recollection of Ed Curtin is that more from the education point of view, that he was an excellent teacher, and I just ate up the lessons that he taught us on civics. I don't remember the textbook, but he did an excellent job explaining the 3 branches of government and voting and how a bill gets to be a law, and the judiciary, the legislative, and the presidential, the executive branches of government. So I remember all those lessons very well, and he was just an excellent teacher. And I think he was just a little bit older than us. I'm not sure if the job at Hamilton was his first job out of college. If it wasn't, it was his second, because he was really young. Same with Machichi. But that's all I remember. And I vaguely remember him teaching us typing. I don't remember the typing class that well.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Tom, because for most of us, we didn't play basketball. We remember him as a person and as a teacher.
Right.
So, well, I don't want to have any long pauses here, so I'm going to jump in and I'll share my memories of Ed Curtin. He was a typing teacher, and my mother had taught me to type on an old manual typewriter when I was in 7th or 8th grade. So I could type very well. And so we got into this class and they said, if somebody can type like whatever it was, 25 words a minute, you can get out of the class. So I said to Mr. Curtin, look, I've been doing all these tests and I'm typing faster than 20, 25 words a minute. I'd like to get out of the class. He goes, no, you can't. So I think it must have been Father Coleman in our sophomore year. I went and I said, Father, I could really use the study time because, I'm not very good in math and science and that kind of thing. And, I can type faster than 25 words a minute. So he went and told Mr. Curtin, he said, give him a test. And if he can type faster than 25 words a minute, you got to let him get out. And I got out. I have another memory of him. And I think it was Bob that said, there were no guys from Massachusetts or New England that played basketball. Well, there's an answer for that. Most of us ended up playing hockey and football and maybe baseball, but growing up in that environment, basketball, except for the Celtics and a few areas, just wasn't played. And I never touched the basketball until I went to Hamilton. And Mr. Curtin came up to me and he said, hey, I'd like you to try out for the team. And I said, well, Mr. Curtin, I don't like basketball. I don't like to play in a gym all winter long. I play hockey and I want to be outside. And So then he gave up on me. um, there was another thing that I remember distinctly. We had one hell of a cheering section, both at home in that little gym, that little box, that when other teams come in there, I mean, we were screaming so loud that everything was going on. It was really tough to win in that gym. And they took a busload of us kids to the Boston Garden every time we played there. And that's all anybody talked about during those playoff days was, you know, we're in the Boston Garden, we're in the Tech Tourney. And they were writing articles about, you know, the seminary, and we only had 30 guys to pick from. And here we are playing with these schools with, you know, 1,000 kids maybe. And I remember they had us way up in what we used to call like the upper deck or smoking section in the Boston Garden, because you used to be able to smoke in there. And we were all grouped together and we would cheer like hell. We're from Carmel, couldn't be prouder. If you can't hear us, we'll shout a little louder. And then the other school would go at it. It was just a terrific time and a great memory. The other thing that I do remember, because I really enjoyed watching you guys play. I was a huge fan. I loved Al. Al had the sweetest shot, the jump shot. And I always think of Al when I watched that movie Hoops. You know, that kid from Indiana that, you know, was shooting the baskets, and the team didn't do anything until he came back. But Al had the sweetest shot. Louis, I remember you from the corner. I don't know what it is. I think that must have been your shot, but you drained more shots from the corner that were really incredible. I remember every single one of you. I also think it was either, did Jerry Paya play on that team, on one of those teams? Anybody remember?
I think
No,
he
I
did.
don't think so.
No?
Jerry was 2 years ahead of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Was it Adam
So it would have
Cap
been
then?
his sophomore.
Adam Cap played on the team, correct?
Yeah,
I
he
think
did.
he did. He was in our junior year, and so was Richard Colsott. Colsott was great.
Joe
He
Colson.
He was a guard,
So-
and he was fantastic.
I have this memory. Somebody took the final shot in this incredible, our last game. If it had gone in, we would have been tied or we won, but it hit and rolled around the rim. Does anybody remember that? I thought it was like
Yeah.
Adam Cap or somebody that fired that desperation shot.
No, it was Joe Colson.
Joe Colsont did it. Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he
Joe.
just rimmed it out, just missed.
Yeah. And would we have won that game, or would that have been tied, or what?
We would have won it.
Yeah. Wow. So
I
Reggie
got
was
a
one
funny-
game.
I got a funny story to tell you. I hate to jump in, but
no, go ahead.
the Gardens, that first game, the first time we went to the Gardens, it was kind of a labyrinth back there in where the locker room was and everything. And so anyhow, so we're in the locker room, we're doing, getting ready. And the coach is leading us out, and he couldn't find the court. He couldn't find the court. Okay. So we're lost in the bowels of the Boston Garden trying to find the court. And so finally we found the court. And then somehow that got out to the newspapers, and an article the next day was talking about Coach Curtin and his difficulties. And they said, and I think I have this article, they said something like, Coach Curtin was bewildered, okay? Because he couldn't find the court. And from that point on, his favorite song was that song, Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered. And every time I would meet up with him, I would sing that song to him.
Can I
Hey,
jump in?
I'll-
Can I jump in? for
Question.
1 second?
Larry, go ahead, Larry.
I just double checked the photo of the team when we were in junior year. Don DeVoe was on that team. So we
Oh,
did have
DeVoe.
one Massachusetts.
He was
We
from
did have one
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts person on that team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. See, a
Question,
collective memory is awesome.
Yeah, I thought he was on the team, but I had to go back and check the pictures. I have on my iPhoto, I've got like hundreds of photos that were collected at the time of the reunion. And so I've got both the senior and junior year photo, which you guys probably have too.
Yeah.
John, does anyone know where Ed got his credentials to coach? Did he play in college or high school or what exactly?
He was at Salem State. He went to Salem State. And I don't know if he played there. I really don't know. But I got to tell you, Bob, Bobby Joe. I love calling Wechter's law office. And
Robert
the
Joseph
receptionist
days.
answers the phone and I say, is Bobby Joe there? But
Ryan LaHurst call me BJ.
there was one of the games in the Gardens, you scored 28 points.
I did.
And you were hot as can be. You had the hot hand. You couldn't miss. And you kept looking at the coach. And you were like saying, I don't know, like, what should I do? And the coach just said, play, man. He just let you play. And you nailed so many shots that day.
Ed told me at the reunion that I forget he was kind of like worried that I was shooting so much, even though I was making them. And someone was counseling him on the sidelines, says, just let him play. And I don't remember who that was exactly, but so I just, continued to do it. Yeah, I haven't framed that clipping. I don't know why not.
And
John,
I remember that game. I remember that game distinctly.
Yeah, I remember that because I kept remember the coach saying, give it to Bob. He's hot. Go with him. And we did. We just gave you the ball. You go where it is.
Well, Wechter never knew how to pass. He only knew how to shoot.
I remember one game where we had the warm-ups beforehand, and then we got into the circle, and the coach looked at me. He was always looking up at Al and I and John. Remember that? And he said, Horvath, you look like you saw a ghost. I said, Coach, did you see that guy? He's 6'11", he's big. He looks up at me. He was very inspirational. He said, Horvath, you're good. When you get up in a tap ball at the beginning of the game, you look in his eyes and you communicate and you say, you don't scare me one bit. And I never forgot that all my life. Never forgot that inspiration. By the way, I think I always thought basketball courts had a wood floor. And I think Hamilton was the only school in the nation that had a brown tile floor. Remember that? I cannot imagine playing basketball on tile. It has to be wood. I don't know if you remember that. Tile floor?
Yeah. Clearly gave us an advantage.
But we always had standing room only. We always had spectators. It was always standing room only. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So was that Spider Thompson that you jumped against? He was the really tall, blonde kid with glasses who played for Melrose in the game that Colsant missed the last shot on. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated that guy.
Yeah, so did I. He was shooting.
I know you did. We all did.
Hey, John Prusik, I am going to hassle you. I am going to hound you to make sure you come back to these next meetings. Okay. We need your energy. We need your humor, and we need your memory.
I'll be there, Reggie. No problem.
I don't want any excuses. I'm too busy. I'm working. I got a trial tomorrow. None of that stuff.
I have a question, Regis. It was great connecting again and hearing the stories of the coach. My question is there anything that we can do other than talk and share memories? I mean, can we send a letter or some kind of communication to the family as fond memories, or share this tape, or give a donation to one of his grandchildren for something. Is there anything we could do other than just, you know, I feel kind of urged to do something.
Anybody who knows him can send him a copy of this show. I mean, this is as live and as animated as you could possibly get. And I think if anybody wants to send money or, you know, whatever encouragement, personal remembrances, certainly John Prusik might want to be able to share his email. I think it's a good idea, Lou, but definitely send them this recording. I think they'd enjoy it.
I was texting with Bobby, his son. He has two sons, Bobby and Billy. I asked about a memorial service or, you know, what was happening, and it sounds like they're going to postpone things to maybe the spring. They're not doing things immediately right now. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I've been checking the Boston Globe and the Salem newspaper, and there's nothing in there about obituary. So
yeah.
I assumed that they weren't going to do anything right at this time.
Yeah, I think Carol, Ed's wife, has some medical issues that she's dealing with right now as well. So,
Well, his sons might appreciate a good recorded version, though, maybe, huh?
yeah.
Something, yeah.
Okay, anybody we haven't heard from want to jump in? Otherwise, we're not going to end because we'll give everybody a chance to say hello anyway. Anybody else want to jump in on Ed Curtin?
Mm-mm.
I won't shut up. I'm sorry. I want to say one more thing, and that's, you know, Ed didn't know how to type. He did not know how to type. Even though he taught it.
Yeah, well, he just monitored that room, and we were typing out of a book, learning out of a book, I think.
You know,
Well, that's
these
what I
years
was
have
wondering
been
whether
better.
Ed was. That's what I was wondering whether Ed was coaching out of a book. You know, like how to coach basketball. He learned with that on our behalf.
You know, I don't know where he got his coaching background, but my remembrance of him was he had a terrific mind, and I watched him coach you guys. I watched him coach you very closely because, I mean, I was interested in the team. I was interested in all you guys. And I watched the way he coached. And I think it was, you know, it might have taken somebody 20 years coaching under somebody else who was great and, you know, put all that stuff together. But he was in my recollection, he was an incredible tactician. He knew how to place you guys. He knew where you guys had to be. I mean, I just remember that very distinctly. And I remember him calling you guys to courtside in the Boston Garden and coaching you. You know, he was intense. I mean, my record, and I don't mean intense like he was a crazy man and screaming, but you could see him. He was coaching the whole time. And I think that I think he was a great tactician, and I think probably he was a pretty good psychologist.
Must have played. I think he had to have played somewhere.
Yeah. All right. So we can
Bob Zahn
continue.
has something.
What's that?
Bob Zahn wants to talk.
Are you serious? Bob Zahn
Raise your
really
hand,
wants to
Bobby.
talk?
Yeah, you know, do any of you guys remember Bob Cousy? I think he played for.
Oh, yeah.
Of course
Oh,
not.
yeah.
Of course not.
He was the shortest player I think that they ever had, but that guy could handle the ball. And I remember that Curtin was very similar. He was short, but he was an incredible ball handler. He could dribble around anybody and make a shot. And he reminded me, I remember in those days, of Bob Cousy. He was so good at handling the ball.
Wasn't Bob
Cousy
the first behind the back dribbler, if I remember
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you got it.
something
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Mhm.
And the only other guy that I can remember could handle a ball actually ambidextrously was Peya. I remember him dribbling around the court with two balls,
Very fair, yeah.
equally adept at using both hands. And I marveled at that because I couldn't even handle the ball with one hand.
Hey, did you
You know,
pass? Did you pass typing?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
No, you know what? My parent or my mother had a machine, and I went into that class typing 20 words a minute, and I came out typing 10 words a minute, and I still can't type. I'm
I can't
77
type
years
anywhere.
old and I can't type.
Yeah. I remember
The
typing.
only other memory I have, I remember some of the classwork, but the only other memory I had was the interrogation that some of us had by Curtin and Machichi. I can't remember the exact circumstances, but I remember going into an interrogation, and I remember Machichi saying something to me like, "If we had a gun to your head, I bet you'd tell us." So I can't remember exactly what the deal was, but I think it was some sort of a wager we had going. And
Oh,
Did
isn't
you,
it-
and
hey, Bob,
Didn't
did you
we-
crack?
didn't we-
Did you break?
I didn't break.
I have a
didn't get-
slight memory. Did we have some kind of a wager about the number of lines he would
Yeah.
draw?
Right.
He would
draw on the
underscore, yeah,
blackboard?
he would underscore lines on the
Yeah,
blackboard.
right. We'd have to
Everybody had to
count how
know
many
what to
times.
count 'em.
Yeah.
Right,
Everybody
right.
had to throw a nickel into the pot, and then whoever got the right number won. But the problem was when Reg was on his ham radio telling the world what we had done, Evan Jesioro intercepted the transmission because his room was right above where Reg had his ham radio. And so the next day, or no, it was the next Monday or whatever, Mr. Machichi comes into class and he says, "I'm very, very disappointed. I would think that seminarians would not play games with their teachers." And we all started looking at each other like, who the heck blew the whistle on us? And I think it wasn't until the end of the year that they told us how they had found out, and it was through intercepting that call. So, but that was it, Bob.
It was Reggie. Reggie blew it.
Yeah, Reggie.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
You
Yeah,
should have
but
said
when
it in CW, Reg.
There was
Yeah,
supposed to be
yeah.
radio silence, Reg.
What I remember about that was that Machichi came into class the next time we had class, and he didn't underline anything once. And then he said something at the end of the class that he had found out about it.
What year was that?
I think I was
When
junior.
did we have him for history?
So you
American
guys,
history.
you guys were there. You guys that came from Niagara, junior year would have been.
Must have- Junior year.
Yeah.
Didn't we do the same thing for Father Theophane where he had that cough? Remember teaching German? He would like, yelk. You remember that?
Yeah.
He had a funny cough and it just irritated us. So we decided we'll count. Hey, did you hear he coughed 35 times last class? You know?
I think there were other characters we made fun of as well.
I remember Theophane's favorite phrase was "open the transom once," Reggie or whoever he was calling on. Open the transom once.
Well, it was better than that, Bob. It was Matten Sie die Tür zu.
Machen Sie die Tür zu. Yeah, I remember that.
And the other one I remember is Father Tierney was Spanish,
Oh, yeah.
and he always said "con los libros cerrados," meaning with the books closed, and we would have a little pop quiz.
Oh,
I remember I remember Tierney saying his office. I forget where we would be, maybe in study hall, and we'd see him pacing back and forth
Mhm.
for an hour saying the office.
Yep.
Almost every day.
Just outside the window. Yep.
Yeah.
Is anyone still taking those Saturday morning Bennett Latin exams.
Oh, geez.
Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Curse you,
Oh,
Lou.
yeah.
You did so well on those. I never passed one.
Oh, those Latin-
I was always back on Sunday morning.
Latin.
Jesus. And then I ended up going to Rome when they lectured in Latin. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Lecturing in a dead language.
Yeah, no kidding.
Unbelievable.
Well, remember that was written inside of the Latin textbook. Latin is a dead language. First it killed the Romans and now it's killing me.
I think John Prusik in our
Have to go
23rd
now. I'll see you later.
Oh,
Hey,
Dale.
Dale. Hey, Dale.
But,
Good to see you, my friend.
okay. I was going to tell a story about Machichi because he was a coach too, you know,
Yep.
and we had a track team. And I don't remember, I was on the track team. I don't remember how many other of us were. But anyway, there are other coaching stories too. So,
Oh, darn. I don't remember that. Wow.
yeah, we used to take buses to go to various cities and we'd run. And we weren't very good because there were a lot of other high schools that, encouraged track and field. And we didn't put much into that really, except a few of us that were running our butts off for it, you know. So anyway,
Yeah,
but I
Dale.
remember the one story, Machichi would come with a gallon jug of honey. And before each of our events, I ran the 220 all the time. He would give us 2 spoonfuls of honey, pure glucose out of those jugs to try to give us an advantage to some of these other schools. Anyway, that was Coach Machichi too.
Oh, wow.
And some of us, he was our Russian teacher too. So,
Right.
yeah, I got to go now. See you
All right,
later.
Dale.
Right.
Dale, thanks for
I
checking
think,
in.
I think Dave Wall was on the running
He
team.
was pretty fast. Dave was fast.
Yeah.
I think Pat Deegan was too. Remember Pat Deegan?
Deegan.
Yep,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Right.
All right. So to give everybody a shot here to say at least something, hello or whatever, we'll go back to alphabetical and we're going to leave it wide open too. So Phil Olson, you're number 1 on the list alphabetically.
All right. I didn't have much to contribute for Coach Curtin because I was such a horrible athlete in all areas. I was there at Hamilton, 3.5 years till I finally, or 2.5 years. I left halfway through my junior year. But I remember him in the classroom a little bit, but I didn't have any good athletic stories. I did enjoy tremendously watching our basketball team, like you were saying, Reg. They, it was awesome how well they did in the notoriety in the newspapers at the time and everything else. But that was an incredible basketball team.
Yeah, it made us all proud. That's for sure.
Excuse me, Rick. I've got to check out too. It's been great talking to you guys. It was a great session. We'll see you the next time.
Yeah, thanks for the memories, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Larry.
So long.
All right, let's go.
Good to see you, Larry.
Let's go to Mike Beener.
I've always marveled at the fact that I look back at my high school years and I was instructed by a non-priest in only 2 classes for 4 years. And that was for Curtin for typing. And it actually, I didn't know how to type at all before. But I can't believe now here I'm hearing that he didn't even know how to type himself. And the other one was Machichi for history. And I think that's, I don't know if John Kennedy was president, but he would, I could tell he was a Kennedy Democrat, and he kind of affected some of my opinions and leanings over the years. But I had a priest for every other course. It was kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. Let's go to Brian.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the Phil category there.
all my athletic talent was in my head only. Physically, I had very little talent, even though I wanted to be. I can remember watching Bob Cousy when I was a little kid. He was my idol. And I tried to practice basketball like he would play, but I didn't have any talent at all. But I do remember being at Boston Gardens, being up there in the nosebleed section, cheering our guys on with the parquet floor down there. I remember that very distinctly. But I don't remember him at all as a teacher. Isn't that funny? Maybe because I didn't have much association with him at all. But I do remember how great the Carmel athletics group was, the basketball team. They still hold a very high place in my memory. John Prusik and Al Jakovic and Lou Horvath. Just terrific memories.
Okay, Brian, thank you very much. Let's go over to Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Bob Donnelly, I think you're still in there.
Hello, how are you tonight? So, I'm glad no one has remembered my role in the sports stories. I was the loudest mouth. So in the cheering section upstairs, I remember being totally without a voice at the end of those games. It was certainly pulled everything out of me that I had to give, and it's great to hear these stories again and to go back on memory lane, as it is each time that I join. So thank you all for sharing those memories. I'll pass.
Yeah, thanks for joining tonight, Bob. Always good to see you. Guy Gramala, turn your microphone on. Are you still there, Guy? We'll give him a second.
Hit the wrong button. Can
There
you hear
you
me
go.
now? Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed listening to everybody. I was just thinking to myself, there are a couple of memories I have we were in the Tech tourney, and I was on the team. I got to play for maybe a minute or so at the end when we were definitely losing. It was a very enjoyable thing. I feel proud to be able to get on the court. I also have a memory. I don't know if any of you guys remember. There was one day, I know it was at lunch or something. The Machichi and Curtin sat at a table in the refectory, and the table I was at, for some reason, we decided to start look toward him and laugh. We just look there, come to ourselves and start laughing. Kept doing that to try and drive him nuts. I'm not sure if that was part of the interrogation you were talking about, but I know he wasn't very happy with that. Other than that, I really enjoy hearing, reminiscing with all you guys. I'm not much of a talker, but I'm a great listener. So with that, I'll say bye.
Great. Thank you, Guy. Thanks for being with us. You've been a regular, haven't missed.
Oh, I enjoy this, believe me.
So I think everybody has had a brief chance anyway. Kevin, did you want to jump in and share anything else about anything else? Because I think you peeped in for a bit, and then Tom Vaughn, the same thing.
Yeah, no, one of the things that, as I'm listening to all this, and of course I remember Ed and I remember Machichi, and I remember especially Machichi's classes, the history classes and the movies and all that stuff. Plus we went on a field trip. But one of the things that struck me was that, first of all, the excitement of going to Boston, to the Gardens and all of that was really something. And I think it was just that, we knew each other so well. And then Ed knew his team. And it was more than just know basketball. It was to knowing his team and knowing he knew you guys really well. And it was a personal kind of knowledge of you guys. It wasn't just as a basketball players. And so I think that really helped in terms of winning. Plus all the spirit of us. I mean, we were just a small group at the Boston Gardens. It was incredible. But that's my memories of all that.
Thanks, Kevin. Always good to see you. Take care. Travel well. We know you're going down to see Bob Clark, but
See you Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, right.
All right, Tom Vaughn, did you want to kick in again?
I just remember what Bob Donnelly said. I mean, we were fantastic cheerleaders, and the other team would have the girls come out, the cheerleader girls. So we had to like be the counterpart to that. So we screamed very loudly. And I remember the bus rides, and we were so proud to be able to go to the garden and be in the tournament. It was quite a life experience. Like, look how we're talking about it, like 55, 60 years later. Like we remember the plays, we remember a lot of the details of the games because they were so significant to us as we were in the seminary. I would like to take the time to put one footnote into a previous discussion that we had when we were talking about the degree, and when Lou Horvath brought out that piece of paper that Father Malachi had written, what the status of the degree was. And I told you the story about Bill Franklin. His father said to Bill, "Why don't you get a teaching job, because you've been trained to be a teacher?" So he went to the Boston Public Schools and asked for, signed the application, and they said, "Well, you have to be certified to teach in Massachusetts." So he went to the state, and then the state said, "Well, you have to prove that the degree that you have was a recognized degree." So he did a lot of the legwork, and I don't know if Bill had that letter that Lou had, but Massachusetts did investigate and said to Bill, "You can get a teacher's certificate because the degree was a legitimate degree recognized by the state of New York." So when I got a job in Arlington after I graduated from BU, and the person who hired me said, "You can come on September the 1st, you have a job, but you're going to have to be a certified teacher by September the 1st. So I went to the state and gave my credentials, and they came back and said, "Well, we understand the degree is accepted by the state of New York, but none of the courses under the degree were accepted towards your teaching certificate because they weren't in approved programs." So I said, "Well, what does that mean?" And they said, "You're going to have to take the history of the philosophy of education and the history of education again." We had done those, I think, at Niagara. So I went to Salem State that summer. I signed up for both courses. They were available. So I would drive down on evenings, 2 evenings a week. I would take history of education one night and the philosophy of education the second night. And I remember the teachers that we had. I remember the methods teacher that we had at Niagara. He was from the State University of New York at Buffalo.
Yeah.
I don't remember the history. Oh, yeah. I have a vague memory of the teacher that taught us the history of education, but I don't remember his name. But anyway, the degree was like partial, and I was able to squeak through. I was able to get that job on September the 1st because I did take those two courses and I passed them, and then I was able to bring those grades like mid-August to the state. I said, "You got to expedite this because I need a certificate by September the 1st to get my job," and which they did. So it was unfortunate I had to take the same courses twice, but it was interesting to get another perspective on the history of education and the philosophy of education.
Okay, Tom, great.
Hey, Tom,
Yeah.
wasn't that guy's last name Cochran?
Oh, yes.
He was kind of
Yeah.
like very military-like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Everything was boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
I
I think his last name was
seeing all these-
Cochran.
And do you
Hey,
remember?
Bob.
Do you remember the? Oh, she was like a very angry teacher. She was a graduate student at State University of New York at Buffalo, and I think she taught us American history. And she had married a Native American, and she was a firebrand about the Reconstruction after the Civil War. I don't know if you remember her. She indoctrinated us about how Native Americans and Afro Americans were mistreated by the United States. Because it was in her family. She had married the the Indian. Does anybody remember her?
No. The only female, I remember the teacher who taught us French at Niagara in college. She was really good. She didn't speak English, but she spoke Russian and French. No, she was Polish, teaching us
Miss
French.
Miss Gutowska.
Yeah.
She was good. I learned more French that one year than any other year there. It was really great.
Yeah.
You know, talking about languages, I've been interested in languages my entire life. And there's one summer I was with Cuthbert Hainsworth. Probably most of you won't even know him. He was several years ahead of us, a very brilliant guy. And he went on to be also an ordained Russian Orthodox priest. He was an incredible linguist. And one summer, he and I were studying French in Neuchâtel, Switzerland. And it was only a couple of days when we had any sun during that summer. And one day we went down to this beach, Lake Neuchâtel, and we were laying there, and with our French book, we were studying French, and we were, you know, checking each other and helping each other. And these three women with 6 little kids. Now, you know, in Switzerland, they speak French, they speak German, and they speak Italian. And these little kids were going back and forth in all 3 languages. They were all under 6 years old. And I remember cursing, I'm saying, this is not fair. These little shits don't even know what a textbook is. And here they are, fluent in 3 languages. And I'm experiencing the same thing now here in Russia. Anyway, we learned out of a book, and occasionally maybe a good teacher, and we had a chance maybe to talk a little bit, but I think the key really is you got to be immersed in a language to be able to learn it. Anyway, this has been great. I don't want to cut it short, but is there anybody else that'd like to share something before we conclude tonight?
Well, I have a comment too. Yeah, Reg. It seems like, you know, our basketball history at CJS was kind of lucky. We had a great team. And I think playing on the team, I remember thinking, Jesus, if we just had been able to practice more, we would have been able to go long, you know, do better. We didn't have any practice time to speak of. And we were such a small school to begin with, and nobody was in from the state. And yet I don't even remember how we got in, how the fathers who were in charge of the program got us all these different games, you know, and got into the tournament. But despite all that, I remember the intramural programs a lot. Every season we had new sport, and because I remember it, I had new muscles that hurt every season, different seasons. When you started a new football, basketball, and we had some track, a little bit of track, I remember, and baseball. So we all had the seasons, and interleague play was a big deal. And that was all part of the training, I guess. It was always nice, great.
Well, you know, we had a very gifted class. We've talked about that, not only academically, but athletically. We had a lot of really good athletes. Those of you guys that had the good fortune to play on an interscholastic team was great, but we had some really terrific athletes and some terrific competitions in those interleague games and the class games when we competed against the other classes.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I think the other priests, you know, obviously they were priests, they were older than us, but when they reflected back on our class, they would always comment on that we were kind of like a Renaissance class. We had skills in so many different areas.
Was there a turkey bowl at Niagara and at Hamilton?
Yeah.
Every Thanksgiving we had the football playoff interclass stuff.
Yeah. So
I got
it. Niagara was across the street where the vineyard is now.
Yeah.
There's a vineyard now on that field?
Oh yeah, they have the Carmelite souvenir shop there has all kinds of wines now that they make right by themselves.
You mean that the Carmelites are into winemaking?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they got a great frozen wine, ice wine they call it.
I guess that would be appropriate for Niagara Falls. Okay, guys.
All right.
Let's wrap it up. This has been great. John Prusik, thanks so much for joining us. You added so much to this
Yes.
meeting, and
John, thank
gonna,
you.
I am gonna hound you.
It's all right. I've been
Yes.
hounded my whole life. I don't care.
All right.
All right, thanks, guys.
Be careful. We'll send the mafia on you.
All right.
As long as it's not Clark.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stars through the